Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to today's live reading of The Alien and the Crime Boss by Naomi Valkyrie, presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Join me. Chapter 1, LEILPHUN. Pounding at the front door roused me from sleep. Groggy, I make my way through the house in the dark, hoping I don't run into something. Just as I get the door open, Den-Fi shoves his way inside. Gather your things, LEILPHUN. The authorities are coming to arrest you in the morning. We have mere hours to get you out of here. Instantly awake, I go into survival mode, pulling the bags I've prepared for an event like this out from a cupboard, setting it by the door. Denvi stops me as I turn to walk into my room. Where are you going? To get some proper clothes on for traveling. There is no time. You need to get a head start so you can get to the rocks in time to cover your trail before daylight. Picking up my bag, Denvi hands it to me and ushers me out the door. We walk in silence to the wall separating the town from the desert beyond. Upon reaching the wall, Denfi and I share a brief embrace. Safe travels, my friend. I will miss you. May Unsfei guide you and protect you. I will miss you as well. Stay vigilant and keep safe. May Unsfei bring us together again. I say knowing that that is not likely, but trying to hold on to hope. With no more time for sentiment, Den-Fi helps me pull back the shrubbery limbs that conceal an opening in the stones. After I squeeze through, he hands me my bag. We look at each other one last time, and then I turn and run into the dark, sandy expanse. By the time I reach the rocky area, I have been traveling for hours, and the first rays of light are appearing in the sky. Exhaustion is threatening to overtake me, but I keep pushing on. Being tired is nothing compared to what I will endure if I'm caught. Climbing until my limbs are screaming, I give up my all. Reaching the peak of the steep, rocky hill, I take a minute to look out over my homeland. I will probably never set foot on this ground again, never see the twin moons high in the inky sky, never again visit the resting place of my ancestors. Emotion wells inside of me, but there is no time for shedding tears. Besides, I made my choice, always knowing that this day might come. Turning away from the sandy view in front of me, my town merely a speck in the distance, I continue on to the Forbidden Valley. Several hours later, I've depleted the supply of water and food in my bag, but thank you, Esfei, it got me to my destination. The Forbidden Valley is essentially a graveyard of technology from generations ago when our leaders still allowed it. It is also the final resting place for many poor souls the authorities sentenced to death as an alternative to fighting the arenas. My parents tell their children the souls of the damned are waiting for them here. If the children are bad, the restless spirits will drag them to the Forbidden Valley and torture them for eternity. The legend has gone on for so long, even the authorities will not set foot past the edge of the rock border. They wound the convicted, then release them into the rocks, standing guard at the perimeter to make sure the doomed prisoners don't try to come back out. But it is not the Forbidden Valley I fear. I fear the alternative, the torture of being forced to fight in the arenas. For those chosen to be elite fighters, it is the source of pride. For those sent in as punishment, well, let us simply say that the Forbidden Valley is mercy by comparison. Picking my way through the maze of old ship skeletons and rusted out machines, I find the entrance to the cave that holds the pathway to both my exile and my freedom. Chapter 2, KASPER. The crisp morning air invigorates me as I stand out on the front porch of the cabin drinking some coffee. Being out here in the middle of nowhere is a pleasant change from city life, especially when the city has red running in the streets. I smile to myself. I think about how easy it was to turn the two biggest crime families against each other. There's been a truce in place for years, but the new head of the Lord family doesn't command as much respect as his father did. A few missing shipments, a few dead bodies, a few whispered words in the right ears. The results? All out war. All I have to do is wait out the aftermath and then swoop in at the right time and take over while they're licking their wounds and trying to reorganize. Something rustles in the underbrush at the edge of the tree line, putting me on alert. They shouldn't have found out about me this soon, but it's not something I can take for granted. Ducking down behind a chair, I keep my eye on the woods. A minute later, a squirrel comes darting out and runs across the front lawn. Tension eases out of my body, and I rise from my hiding place. Drinking the rest of my coffee, I keep my eyes on the trees. Maybe I should do a quick sweep to make sure I'm still alone out here. Stepping into the cabin, I walk to the kitchenette and put the mug in the sink, and then pick up the rifle by the door. Since I have 2 handguns on me, it's probably overkill, but human beings aren't the only things to watch out for in these woods. I truly don't want to become breakfast for a bear. That would definitely mess up my plans to take over the city. Rifle in hand, I set out for the woods, intending to do a quick check and get back to the cabin to do some more strategizing for the final stage of my plan. When my opportunity to rise to power comes, I want to be prepared. Any hesitation could give another party an opening to pull it all out from underneath me. I disregard my intentions when I'm blinded by a searing flash of light. The hair on my arm stands up, a sense of electricity prickling the air. When my vision returns, I look around the immediate area, but see nothing that could cause such a phenomenon. On alert, I set out to see if I can find the source of light. The woods are unusually quiet. I'm guessing that whatever happened scared away all the wildlife. It would probably be wise for me to take a hint, but I'm much too curious to be scared into retreat. Besides, information is power. The more I know, the better off I am to defend myself if it's something dangerous. Keeping as silent as possible, I sneak through the trees. I don't have a specific direction to go in, but I'm keeping my eyes open and my ears tuned in for any sound that might help me find a clue. Slowly, the woods come back to life around me, so I'm assuming the danger level has gone down. Still, I keep my guard up as I continue to explore. When I reach the edge of a relatively shallow ravine, I decide it's time to search in a different direction. Just before I turn to leave, a piece of something white, contrasting the browns and greens of the surrounding landscape, catches my eye. Walking the edge of the ravine, I look for the safest way to climb down. Once I find a place that looks like I won't slip and fall to my death, I descend into the canyon with the rifle strapped to my back. By the time I reach the bottom, I'm thirsty and regretting the fact that I didn't bring any water on this adventure. Of course, I didn't plan on scaling down a rock face, so there's that. Wiping the sweat from my forehead, I get my bearings and move in the direction of the pile of white I'd seen from above. As I draw closer, I see the white is clothing on a body. Swinging the rifle around, I aim it in front of me. Approaching with caution, I take it in the form, startled to notice that the person's skin is purple. Nudging the person with my boot, I get no response. Upon closer observation, I can see the rise and fall of their chest, indicating life. There don't appear to be any obvious injuries, yet they remain unconscious. Lowering the rifle, I assess the threat level. The person appears shorter and thinner than me. The tunic they are wearing doesn't have pockets, so they're likely unarmed. Watching for any sign they're coming around, I pat the body down just to be sure and discover that the person is definitely male. Confirming my first assumption, I don't find any weapons on him, but now that I'm down closer to the ground, I notice a brown bag halfway covered by leaves. Brushing the leaves aside, I open the knapsack and dig through the contents. There's an empty container that looks similar to a canteen, a set of knives that appear well taken care of, a small black staff with gold decorations on it that match the knife handles, and a change of clothes. From what I can tell, there's nothing to identify this man at all. Standing, I look up the incline I'll have to climb to get back to the cabin and debate the best way to carry him. I can't risk leaving him here. If he was sent by one of the families to kill me, I need to know. Setting the rifle on a small ledge, I slip on the knapsack, then maneuver the man onto my shoulders. Sliding an arm into the rifle strap, I make my way back up the embankment. The incline makes things difficult, and I slide around a few times, but eventually I make it to the top. The man's still unconscious, despite all the jostling. Getting my bearings, I set out for the cabin at a steady pace. Relief overtakes me when the cabin comes into view. I'm in decent shape, but carrying another person around while scaling a ravine isn't on my regular workout routine. After getting the man into the cabin, I find a length of rope and tie him to one of the kitchen chairs, leaving the knapsack on the table with an eyesight, but out of easy reach, should he break free. Once I put the rifle back by the front door, I pull out another chair and sit in front of the man, waiting for him to wake up. Now that he's secure, I take more time to look at him. Long dark hair frames a face with fine features. His skin is a deep amethyst. When I found him in the ravine, seeing the purple was unexpected, but I've seen some weird things in my life, so it was easy to dismiss his body paint or something. Now that I see him up close, I can tell it's natural. Just who is this guy? The mystery man begins to stir. Taking out one of my handguns, I set it on the table and rest my hand on it. When I look back up at him, I'm met with chartreuse green eyes. Contacts, maybe? He appears wary, but overall unafraid, until he realizes that he's bound.